friends of the circus, and welcome back to a bonus video following last Friday's adventures in Denmark with Elton John and Cirque du Soleil. And I thought this could actually be the perfect moment to do kind of a fun, casual, circus-themed Q&A where I answer some of the most interesting and commonly asked questions about my real job, my night job. So is this just an excuse for me to share even more footage from previous contracts that I've done? Possibly, but it should be fun, informative, and a feast for the eyes, so let's get into it. What is your favorite contract or the favorite place you've worked? So this would depend on whether you're talking about my favorite theater, my favorite cast, or something else like, the best pay and conditions. So if we want to look at my favorite theater or venue, absolutely working in Copenhagen. That building is gorgeous. The show was just visually stunning and really a joy to work in. Plus, it was just a really great venue for our act specifically. It has this stadium seating that we performed in the middle of the guests up on the top row. So it made us look even higher up than we already are. It was just really fun, like swinging above everyone's heads, interacting with the guests, all that kind of stuff. If you're talking about for the cast, then definitely it would be Circus Monty in Switzerland. The show was god awful, but the cast was amazing, and we had a lot of friends. It was really enjoyable 6 months together with them, and it was probably the only way we survived that contract. And then if you're talking about for like conditions or pay, we did a gig in Singapore that was really, really enjoyable. First of all, Singapore is beautiful. We really enjoyed our time there getting out to explore the city. We actually had time to explore the city, which is not something that we always can say. Plus we were working for a casino, so the money was stellar. We were doing a show for their high rollers, so we were able to charge a lot. Plus, I negotiated free tickets to Universal Studios as part of the contract. So 10 out of 10 for working conditions on that one. How many countries have you performed in? So I have to say I've never actually counted. I suppose I can do that and I can throw a list up on screen for you, but I did start collecting fabric patches of all the various countries or cities that we worked in. So here are some visuals of those. This is only a tradition I started once I started working with Phil. So this does not include cities that I have worked in by myself or countries. So things that aren't included would be like Colombia, South Korea, where I was all over, Italy, a bunch of cities in Germany, stuff like that. But travel is absolutely one of the biggest perks of the job. It's one of the reasons that I absolutely love doing it. And that actually makes a perfect segue into today's sponsor. Some people scroll travel inspo, and then they're the people who bring it to life. If that's you, your eye for detail and discovery can become your calling card. With today's sponsor, Fora, you're not just going on great trips, you're creating them as a travel advisor for others. Fora is a modern travel agency built for people who love to plan travel and help others travel well. As a Fora advisor, you get the tech, training, and insider access to turn your passion into real earnings, so you can launch and grow a travel business on your terms. You'll have access to more than 7,000 preferred travel partners, allowing you to unlock real VIP perks like upgrades, resort credits, and late checkout, and give your clients the kind of elevated travel experiences regular travelers simply don't get. Every hotel, cruise, or activity you book as a Fora advisor earns you money in the form of a commission or a percentage of the booking cost, and getting started can be as easy as booking trips for people you already know. So say your friend is planning a trip to London. Instead of just sending them a hotel recommendation, you can actually book them into that amazing hotel they heard about online. Maybe get them a room upgrade, complimentary breakfast, even resort credits. Become a Fora advisor today at foratravel.com/YouTube. Click the link in my description to learn more and become a Fora advisor. What is the biggest or most prominent event you've ever performed at? So this has to be a tie between the event I just showed on Friday's video in Denmark with Cirque du Soleil and Elton John, Bruno Mars, and the Ambani wedding that I performed in Mumbai several years ago. So at the time, Mr. Ambani, who was the father of the groom, was something like the 10th richest man in the world. The wedding celebration was estimated to have cost $1.5 million US. The guest list was off the chart and included people like Tony Blair. The band for the wedding was Maroon 5. The cast of these wedding celebrations was in the hundreds of performers. We were there for almost 3 weeks, with a big chunk of that being rehearsals at the beginning on this big custom built stage. And then there were several performances as part of the wedding celebration. And it was all kind of staged around this massive fountain that was designed by the same people that did the fountain outside of the Bellagio in Vegas. So yeah, several nights of performances. The first night of performance was for the most prestigious guests. That was like the Tony Blair night. And then as the nights went on, it got like slightly less and less prestigious. So that was a wild event. I could tell so many stories about that one. Very interesting experience. Probably one of the most prominent things I've ever performed at, that's for sure. What's the wildest costume you've ever had to wear? When I first read this question, I was actually gonna say that I've been pretty lucky and I haven't had to wear any crazy costumes. But then I started looking back through the photos and I realized, like, well, there was that one time I was essentially a giant sparkly sperm, or the time I was a penguin. I've been a giant gingerbread, a walking cupcake, a gay pirate. So actually I have had to wear some really random things throughout the years, and honestly I can't really choose. All I can say is I'm really glad I haven't had to do flying trapeze as a Power Ranger, complete with helmet. So when do you guys practice your acts, and how do you stay in shape between contracts? So we just mostly go to the gym like everybody else. We have a gym membership, we go pretty regularly, we try to anyway. Sometimes the renovations, the timeline catches up on us and we can't go quite as much as we would like to. But I mean, at this point we've spent our whole lives basically being athletes in one form or another. So the specific muscle memory to do our acts is pretty well ingrained in us. So at this point we just kind of need to stay in general shape, like maintain muscles generally speaking. And between going to the gym and also just staying active in regular life, like not leading a sedentary lifestyle, goes so far towards that. So we're super active here on the renovations. We're always running around and hauling stuff. Even just living in a 3-story house, we do stairs all the time. We're out for an hour and a half a day with Canelle, walking her. So it's just like baseline maintenance. And then of course, as we get closer to contracts, like going out on tour, then we do try to ramp it up a little bit. We'll try to get on the equipment and just get those like random specific little muscles back. But yeah, mainly just going to the gym. Do you invent your own acts? Do we invent the equipment? No. Do we create our own tricks and develop our own choreography for the 5 to 7 minute acts that we offer? Yes, definitely. We have our core act, our original performance. That is the one that we created ourselves. We're the most passionate about it. It has our favorite music and our favorite costumes. But then of course, different theaters will obviously ask us to modify it, to lengthen it, to shorten it, just to make it fit their show. They'll inject their own flavor or their own costume into it. But even then, we are still fully in charge of modifying it. They might give us the music, they might give us the costume, but then we have to do the work to like tweak our act to fit within their parameters. It's very normal. So sometimes we'll make it more kid-friendly. We'd had to do that in Norway. We can make it more spooky for a Halloween contract, or more Cirque du Soleil coded if we're working for them. Whatever the theater wants to make the show more cohesive and fit under their artistic vision, we're the ones doing the work to make that happen. How does it all work? Do you always work for independent circuses? So we're self-employed, we're contract workers that sell out our performance as a package to whoever wants it. And sometimes that ends up being really big corporations, really big companies like Cirque du Soleil, who put on these big shows that run for years and years. And sometimes it ends up being a small business that wants a one-night performance as a corporate event for its employees. It really runs the gamut. It goes all over the place in terms of who we work for, how long the gig is. The only consistent, I would say, is that we do like to maintain a certain bar of quality of the show. or at least quality of the conditions, since you can't always guarantee the show is going to be good, but we do like to have a certain level of conditions that we want to work in. How do you get your contracts? Do you actively seek them out? Do you sign up on a venue? Do you work with an agent? So like I said, we are just contract workers, so it is literally just me. I am building my network of contacts over the years. I am sending out a bunch of emails. I am putting together our CVs and our promotional material, which is mostly in the form of various videos, whether that's a full act or little highlights here and there. These days, our reputation precedes us in a good way. So thankfully, I don't have to do as much of it. But yeah, no agencies, no venues. It's literally just me doing all the work. Sometimes I will get us into international festivals, which unlike, say, a music festival or a comedy festival, those tend to be more like celebrations of art and kind of community coming together, united by a common theme. Circus festivals, on the other hand, they are competitions, and they can be cutthroat because they are international and they therefore become quite political. It's always a wild experience. I've done several of them. I've won a few prizes at them, which might sound impressive, but it's actually really not, because like I said, they're very political, and so the prizes are, for the most part, always rigged. Yeah, very interesting experience, but they are a great way to get your act seen, to get noticed, to expand your network of important people in the, niche. So there's that. Can we see a full video of you two? No, unfortunately, you cannot. Even before I had a public-facing YouTube channel, I always kept my full acts unlisted or private, and I would just send them to people in the industry as they asked for them. It's just a privacy thing. It's a anti-copying of my act thing. Basically, if you want to see the full act, you have to come to a performance in person. The one exception I can think of to that is that I do have our performance for Romania's Got Talent up on my Patreon page for my patrons. So if you are a patron, you can go check that out. It is a really weird version of our act because it is for TV. It's super shortened. The music is weird. The cinematography is all over the place, but it was a fun experience. And of all the talent shows that I've done, Romania's Got Talent was actually very enjoyable. It is probably the closest you'll come to seeing a full act, other than, watching the circus videos that I put out once or twice a year. My battery is about to die, so I'm gonna sign off, but I will see you this Friday for a regular Friday video. Bye.